Let's look at number 1. Unit 5 study guide. Which fraction equals a repeating decimal? All right. So let's write these out. So let's start with A. That's 5 divided by 30. 30 does not go into 5. So you have to add a decimal, bring it up, and once we add that decimal, we can add as many zeros as we want. So 30 goes into 50 one time, that's 30. Then we subtract. 50 minus 30 is 20. Add a 0 and bring it down. 30 goes into 200 6 times. 30 times 6 is 180. Subtract and we get 20. Add a 0 and bring it down. 30 goes into 200 6 times. 30 times 6 is 180. When we subtract that, we get 20. And this will keep going on and on and on. So that's actually our repeating decimal. Now we could also look at the denominators. This has a denominator of 50. So for C, 50 does not go into 30, but add a decimal. 50 does go into 300 6 times. So that is 0.6. This one is 0.16 repeating. B is 13 divided by 25. 25 does not go into 13, so add a decimal, bring it up. 25 does go into 130 5 times. That's 125 minus, and you get 5, and you have to add a 0 and bring it down. 25 goes into 50 twice. So that equals 0.52. And for D, 13 divided by 10. 10 goes into 13 once. Minus and get 3. Add a decimal, 0, and bring it down. 10 goes into 33 times. So the answer to 1 has to be A. 2. Square rug has an area of 25 square feet. How long is each side of the rug? Okay, so for number 2, we're looking for the square root of 225. So between which two perfect squares is this? Let's see. We know 20 squared is 400. What's 21 squared? Let's go to the side. 21 times 21. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. Oh, no, that's way too high. I'm sorry. 20 squared is way too high. Let's try 15 squared. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 2 is 7. That is 0. 1 times 5 is 5. 1 times 1 is 1. 12 and 2. So yes, so this is too high, so 15 squared is 225, so 2 has to be A. We actually did more work once we realized that 20 squared is 400. All of these are over that, way too much for that. So 2 is A. 3. What is an estimate of the square root of 14 to the nearest hundredth? So we have the square root of 14. The two closest perfect squares, the square root of 9, and the square root of 16. So So what we do here is we're going to take 14 minus 9 over 16 minus 9. So our number minus the lower square root over the upper square minus the lower square. And you get 5 over 7. 5/7 as a decimal. 5 divided by 7. 7 does not go into 5, but 7 does go into 50 7 times. 49 minus, you get 1, add a 0, bring it down. 7 goes into 10 once. 7 minus, get 3, bring down a 0. 7 goes into 30 4 times. We can actually stop here because we know that the square root of 14 is between 3 and 4, so it's 3 point something, and 3 point, we got our decimal over here, 714. So estimate the square root of 14 to the nearest hundredth. So we're going to round this. So it's 3.71. So I would say 3 is B. What's the value of 4 to the negative third? Well, 4 to the negative third, a negative exponent tells us that it is a fraction. So 1 over, and actually we can eliminate all of the options. And 4 to the third is 4 times 4 times 4. 4 times 4 is 16 times 4. 4 times 6 is 24. 4 times 1 is 4. Plus 2 is 6. So 64. So 1 over 64 is what we get. 4 is C. 5. Which statement is false? Looking at these, which statement is false? So all whole numbers are integers. Well, we can draw our chart here. If these were whole numbers, these would be integers, and those would be rational. All whole numbers are integers. All whole numbers are integers. That one's true. All irrational numbers are real. Well, all the numbers that we've dealt with so far are real numbers. Some integers are irrational. Well, irrational numbers, if it's an integer, that means it's rational, so it cannot be irrational. That one is false. That's what we're looking for. 5 is C. 6. Which of these is least likely to describe a distance below sea level? So which will least likely below sea level? If we're talking below sea level, we're talking at an elevation of a negative number. So which of these cannot be a negative number? A. Whole numbers cannot be negative numbers.